Hey everyone, and this is for Mixed Media 6 using circles. In my book it's sort of simple. I wanted to use some acrylic paint. I wanted to use yellow because I just wanted some sunshine in my life today. And then I have in my stuff, I have this. And what this is just a washer, like a regular, like you'd use in plumbing, and I just glued it to a wood block. And I believe it's 1 inch so that I can use my 1-inch circle punch. Shh. And I took Brilliant's pink, pearlescent pink, and I stamped those circles on the background. And then I used a Stampin' Up punch and some very old paper from my stash, from my my boxes, and just punched out. I punched out, like, I think this is a 1 1/4 inch circle, and then I added the scallop circle on the outside, so it's sort of like they're circles. And then I just Mod Podge those down. So that is in my book what I did. What I'm working on for my scrapbook layout is this paper. And I got this paper from this paper pad, which I love and have been sort of hoarding since I got it. But I'm not going to hoard it. No. If you love it, you really should try to use it. Unless it's graphic 45. Yes, in that case, then you can just love it. But everything else must get used. Yeah, I know. Okay. So what I did here was I took a purple gelato. Well, first, I took this paper from the collection. And then I took a purple gelato. And it's probably hard for you to see, but I just made like a frame because I knew this is going to be a scrapbook layout, and I'm going to place something in the center that's going to cover up the center. So I didn't see the point in working in the center if I'm just going to cover it up. So I took a purple gelato and I just made a frame. And then I was, okay, before that I actually put a layer of matte medium on it. And then I started working on a where you take the gelato off, and I used a stencil like this, and I better hold it up. I cut this on my silhouette. You can get this, well, this stencil design, I think I modified it slightly, but you can get this on the Silhouette store. So I cut this stencil out of stencil material. And so then I laid the stencil down and I used a little wipe and I wiped up. So that made those line circles. And then you can see right here and right here, right here, I took this Golden's heavy gel matte. And I used this stencil, and I just used my palette knife and swiped it through. So I had those circles, and I kind of thought that they would be more apparent, but they were really subtle, which was fine. So then I took some pearly paint, and I painted the pearl over it, and I rubbed it off the areas that are the circle. So when you look straight on, if it's shining, you can't see the gelatos as much, but as you angle, you can really see them. So it's kind of a neat effect. Then I took this Pearlescent Ivy Brilliance ink. Brilliance is a great pad for semi-shiny surfaces. It's a pigment pad that will dry on these like mediums. It will dry on photos. It won't dry on really shiny like plastic, but it'll dry on anything that has a little bit of tooth to it. So like the matte medium has a little bit of tooth to it. It dried perfectly and fairly quickly. I would say less than 5 minutes, which is pretty fast for a pigment. But I put these lovely circles with the stamp. And then I took this Pitt pen, it's a brush tipped gray pen, and I traced around all of the matte medium circles, heavy matte medium circles, so it would kind of help them to show up better. All right, so then I am going to proceed and do a scrapbook page. I've already selected my photo. I'm going to do this picture of my daughter from the 7th grade. And I've already got my background, and I'm going to put this on here, and I've cut out some cut aparts, or just some stuff from the paper line to add some layers, and I'm just going to start working from here and see where it takes me. All right, we'll see you in a while. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere my mixed media background to that large piece of cardstock. I believe the cardstock is Stampin' Up! Cardstock. It's just a heavy 110-pound dark green cardstock. And then I sewed the edges of the paper down. I find with the mixed media, if I sew that paper, the papers down, it helps. Plus, I just love the texture that sewing adds. And this is a 6x6 cut apart from the paper line. And I glued it down, and I really felt like it felt very stark and unintegrated into the background, so I decided to get this stencil, another stencil I had cut on my silhouette, and I decided to use it with this golden Viva Golden modeling paste, and I just put those circles everywhere on this layout. As you can see, I cut out some of the details of scraping that through, but I put the circles everywhere, and I felt like it became kind of a unifying factor. It did make it really busy. And this is a really busy layout for me. It's not my usual sort of style, so to speak. It's very mixed media because it's just covered with stuff, and I just kept throwing more stuff on it. But I do like it. It did come out pretty. And part of the reason I wanted to do more mixed media is I wanted to expand the way I scrapbook. So I'm okay with it, I guess. And so here I am, I'm adhering a matte, another pattern paper from the line, and my photo. You can see that I'm using wet glue. I almost always use wet glue. I don't know what the future will bring. And while I live in a very dry climate now, it's entirely possible that I could end up living in a very humid climate in the future. And so I try to make my scrapbooks with PVA glue so that they'll hold together under any climate. So these are just pieces that I fussy cut from another piece of paper. Those are some ancient thickers. I was digging through my stuff. I have no idea when I got these, where I got them, how I got them, but the green fit perfectly, and I love this sort of whimsical font. So I'm like, well, use them or lose them. Let's get it done. So I put grade 7. That's the title of this piece because that's when this was taken. And I struggled for a while how I wanted to attach the 7, and then I thought, more circles. So you'll see me give up here in a second and go get a circle punch. A scallop circle punch to put that 7 on, and there it is. And that really, you know what, when you're struggling with something, it usually is the opportunity to do something really cool that will make the layout even better. So I'm edging the outside of that circle with the Brilliance ink, and then I grab some foam tape and I pop up that 7. And I just put it right there below the A, so it's centered below the word grade, and I just loved it that way. It was nice. It gave a little bit of light color in a layout that was looking pretty monotone, and the layout does stay fairly monotone. It's just busy, and I kind of like the way my daughter's picture is sort of this calm in the oasis of busy, and maybe that's I don't know. That's kind of how I see this. So I'm popping up the wings of that butterfly. These are all butterflies that I fussy cut from the paper line. There are a ton of beautiful butterflies in this paper line. I even have a little tiny one that I put on the 7 tag. And I chose all green ones, greens and yellows, because I wanted them to be not too like in your face. I wanted them to seem like they were part of the foliage. And then I'm just journaling the date. This was a quick layout, really, other than the mixed media part. And here's the close-ups. And it's fun. It's definitely fun and busy. But I think that the gold circles really help to integrate all of that mixed media into the rest of the layout. That's the way I see them anyway. And they're kind of neat, kind of rough. It's a cool stencil. Some just close-ups of some of the details. And that will be it. Thanks and have a great day.